Due to public demand, we are back with hydroponic farming, farming without using soil.
You only need water, warmth and air. But here, this is where the science starts.
We had highlighted this method of farming on our sister program, Daring Abroad, when we featured Professor Dominic Mwenja, the CEO of Mater Hospital, who ventured into this method of farming, especially training the youth on how it works when he returned to Kenya after living in the diaspora for over 30 years.
So hydroponic farming mitigates the adverse effects the weather has on our farming.
Many of our viewers wanted a much more comprehensive report on how this farming is done, cost implications and benefits.
If you use the simpler hydroponics, it would cost you something like $2.50 per square meter.
In this method, we are sure of the process, so we are sure of the product.
So there you are, we bring it back this time round, not on Daring Abroad, but on the Chamwada Report. I'm your host, Alex Chamwada, and we begin by looking at some facts about hydroponic farming in the world.
Even though hydroponic farming is often regarded as a new idea, it has actually been in existence for many years. The world's famous Hanging Gardens of Babylon, that is traced back to 1600 BC, are some of the earliest record of hydroponics. The Floating Gardens of China is another example of hydroponics. In the early 1940s, hydroponic farming was applied on the Wake Islands, a soilless island in the Pacific Ocean. This island was used as a refueling stop for Pan American Airlines. With continued innovation and through modern technology, humans can now grow plants faster, stronger, and healthier. The Food and Agriculture Organization predicts that food production is going to increase by 70% in 2050 despite the concerns of climate change, diminishing land for cultivation, and increasing demand for fresh water. FAO submits that hydroponics is going to be crucial for achieving food security in the future. Some of the countries that have embraced hydroponic farming are the United States of America, China, Canada, the Netherlands, Australia, England, Italy, Spain, Russia, and Israel. In Kenya too, hydroponic farming is slowly taking shape. For the Chamwada Report, I'm Michael Zimanti.
Indeed, innovation is changing the face of agriculture across the world. Kenya is not left behind. At the Kabete Rehabilitation School, youth have been inspired into joining the bandwagon, and this is what could just contribute to transforming their lives.
We have students who underwent training, hydroponic training in Miramar College, and after training, their next step was to establish their own farm, which is the greenhouse that you are seeing that we are in here right now. And my job is to follow up what they've been doing since they finished their training, planting, and then until harvesting, to know if they've been doing what they've been trained in the institution.
Kenya na sisi ndio sisi ni watu wa kwanza kuunda hii teknolojia. Na sasa nikienda nje naweza nikasaidika vibaya. Juu nikipeleka hizi nje naweza nikapata pesa ya kujimudu kimaisha.
At the Miramar International College in Muthiga off Waiyaki Way in Kikuyu constituency, Kiambu County, we meet Professor Dominic Mwenja, the owner of the college that has transferred the practice to Kabete Rehabilitation School among other beneficiaries. Yes, this is where it all begins.
We want our young people who are poor, they don't have much, but we open opportunities for them.
We walk into one of the greenhouses, and at this point you probably are asking, what exactly is hydroponic farming? Experts explain that it is simply farming without the use of soil.
Yes. You only need water, warmth and air. But here, this is where the science starts.
Okay.
Yeah, because you see, now here we are not using soil also, still hydroponics. We are using pumice. This is a volcanic rock.
It's called pumice?
Yeah.
Volcanic rock?
Volcanic rock.
Where does one get this?
You can get this from Longonot area. You can also use granite, which they call ballast.
Okay.
You see, the essence is for the roots to be supported. Exactly. If you want to see the roots, you can look down here, and you see.
They can see the roots.
Yeah, yeah, you can see.
Different plants require different nutrients. Therefore, one has to apply the right solution at the right time.
And we formulate each nutrient specifically for a specific crop. So, for example, like you find lettuce, these are leafy vegetables.
Okay.
So they need more nitrogen for the leaves. The leaves help in the vegetative growth.
Okay.
Yeah, so we formulate so that you have a high nitrogen in this. And the nutrients we are using are just the normal nutrients available in the
Like
agro stores.
This is 600 ml.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And then we stop.
Different plants eat different types of nutrients. You feed them with the nutrients that they want, that they actually need. And that's why you see a lot of the hydroponic products are healthier, they grow faster, and they are free of diseases.
The solutions can be made on the farm by the farmers themselves, or they can be outsourced. African Hydroponic, a company that is situated along Mombasa Road, is one of the companies that provide hydroponic systems and solutions to producers of horticultural crops. Chris Mukindia is the company's managing director.
We have installed hydroponics in many farms, growing flowers, vegetables. The system we supply is what we call second generation hydroponic system, whereby the media is put in a container, the plants grow in a container, and the drain water is immediately separated from the growing media into a channel, which then delivers the drain water into a collection pod.
Chris explains further why this farming technique is growing day by day in Kenya.
People notice that when they have intensive production, the groundwater was getting contaminated. And as a result, various governments and the people came up with legislations that practices must be done to avoid contamination of groundwater. And also issues where when people use the same soil for a long time, the soil gets contaminated either by diseases or accumulation of nutrients or pathogens which are not conducive for production, then they are forced to go into hydroponics.
Back to Miramar International College in Muthiga, Kiambu, and we learn that production of animal feeds can be scaled up thanks to this innovation.
The idea here is our animals don't have to die because there's no rain. We grow this, and within 6 days, the animals are eating. And therefore, from day 1 to day 6, you feed a cow 1 tray per day. It's healthy, all the nutrients are locked in.
So what is this?
These are the roots for the germinated barley.
These are
you
roots.
can eat this yourself. This one doesn't need any other addition because with these barley seeds, all the nutrients are already locked in. These are barley seeds. We germinate them the way they are in their natural condition. What is in here, all the nutrients that are in here naturally, they are locked in, so we don't lose them. And that's why all we're doing is germination and feeding the cow with this. Once you do this, some of the things you eliminate are to buy all those other things that you need to buy to maintain your cow.
Once you go to an hydroponic system, then you are able to maximize the potential of the crops that you are growing. If you are growing vegetables or cut roses, then you are able to get the maximum yield and the maximum quality of the crops that you're doing. Number 2, you are able to grow out of season any time that you need, because normally hydroponics crops are done in a greenhouse. You are also able to use grounds or areas whether the soil is exhausted or not. You also don't need crop rotation, and you are able to get maximum returns from your investments.
So that science allows us now to stabilize the supply of the food, because once you build a greenhouse like this one with the tomatoes, you know exactly what amount of yield you're going to get. And you do this for the entire period that you're harvesting. Then as you plan the next harvest, it becomes easier for you to say, for this type of greenhouse, I'll get this much, for this, I'll get this much. And especially when it comes to our green vegetables and all that, which the prices sometimes oscillates depending on the weather. So hydroponic farming mitigates the adverse effects the weather has on our farming, because you're not relying on rain, and also at the same time, you're not relying on the fertility of the soil itself.
In hydroponic farming, space can be used vertically, meaning this method of farming could help counter pressure on land as the population of people and animals continues to grow.
In Kiambu, for example, we don't have a lot of land. There's not too much land, too many subdivided. So this becomes a good way of increasing the yield and literally using the space to grow the food that they need to grow hydroponically.
But this does not mean that it can replace traditional farming methods.
It is to complement the traditional farming method. It is also to work out a stabilization factor in the country, where we don't necessarily run out of food because we don't have rain. And that's why when you combine hydroponic farming for food products with the hydroponic farming for fodder for the cows, that enables us now, we are feeding our mifugo, at the same time, we are also feeding our people, and that stabilization actually helps to stabilize the market, the prices in the market, and also the supply of food. There's no reason for anybody to go hungry in this country because there's no rain.
We will be back with more on whether hydroponic farming is the solution to Kenya's food security challenges right after the break. Welcome back. We are discussing hydroponic farming, farming without using soil. And before we go into further discussion on the implications of this method of farming on food security and job creation, let's have a recap of just how one can do farming without using soil.
You only need water, warmth, and air.
And in that water, you already have nutrients. And when you eliminate soil, you need another medium that is going to support the roots of the plant itself, which is really the purpose of soil, to support the roots. In this case, we use pumice to support the roots. And with pumice, once we transplant the seedlings into the pumice, then we feed it with the nutrient solution, where the nutrients have been put in a solution format. And the good thing with that is, because different plants eat different types of nutrients, you feed them with the nutrients that they want, that they actually need. And that's why you see a lot of the hydroponic products are healthier, they grow faster, and they are free of diseases.
In this method, we are sure of the process, so we are sure of the product.
Let's now give a little more attention to what happens at the Kabete Rehabilitation School. Moses Aswani, the extension officer from Miramar International College that is collaborating with this school to offer training in hydroponic farming, says his students are embracing this farming method with ease.
I have 50 students so far, those who underwent training, and they have done it. You see, we have 5 greenhouses. They have been divided into groups. So each greenhouse has a number of students. So we have a student of 10 per group, per greenhouse, 10 per greenhouse. So all of them, I leave them on their own, they run their own businesses.
The students are taken through the entire value chain, from farm to fork.
Tunaletwaga seedling. Seedling, tayari zitakuwa zimeshapandwa. Zinakuja zikiwa tayari ziko ready ni kuwekwa na kuendelea kumea. Sasa kitu sisi tunafanya ni kutengeneza hizi cups. Tayari tunaletwa pumice na coco peat. Sasa ni mix coco peat na pumice. Tukimix hivyo, tunaanza kuchukua vikebe tukiweka. Tukiweka tunaweka na seedling. Hivyo tukija tukipanga kwa trough.
Cocoa peat is the remains that come from coconut. The coconut, once the coconut is harvested, the husks and the waste is what they throw away, is what is treated. We wash out excess salt and stabilize it, and then we use it as a media. Now, media in hydroponics should always be inert. It should not take part in any of the activities in the growing. So the purpose of the media is just to hold the roots and the water.
Elsewhere in Kiambururu, still in Kiambu County, we meet Collins Kibet, a graduate of Miramar International College, who is now practicing the knowledge he has gained. He manages a private farm of an investor who has ventured into the hydroponic farming business.
This method of farming, it eliminates the 50-50 chances of farming on regular soil, because in this method we are sure of the process, so we are sure of the product. I and a group of friends, 3 other friends, have started our own business company called Green Soul Limited Liability Partnership. It deals with now agricultural consulting, but mainly in hydroponics. So far we have another farm in Molo, which we are setting it up with this same system, doing tomatoes also. And with facilitation we hope to grow and venture into or to set up more farms all around the country and the region.
Miramar International College has a capacity of up to 2,500 students.
So far we have trained about 1,500 students in different areas. On average we have between 350 to 500 or 600, up to 600 students. So there's still a lot of growth potential in terms of the space, the area specialization, because other than doing hydroponic farming and farming in general, we also train in other areas for NEC programs, IT programs, ABE programs that are UK accredited ABE programs. So we have a lot of other programs that we offer at the college. But right now the main push has been to try and get as many of these young people trained, employed, or getting their own businesses started, because that's the immediate impact and this tangible impact we'll have on our society.
But how does one get a chance to benefit from the training?
Between 18 and 35, they have to be Kenyan, of course, and then they have to be underprivileged. Yes. They have to be vulnerable. We want our young people who are poor, they don't have much, but we open opportunities for them. Last year, we actually applied for a grant from, for sponsorship from GIZ, and they've been our sponsors. They have funded 3 of our classes, almost 1,000, almost about 700 or 800 young people. And if we are not for GIZ, we will not be talking today in the terms that we are talking, in terms of impacting the young people and creating jobs, and also at the same time creating micro enterprises for these young people. So GIZ works with us in terms of funding for the training. KCB Foundation works with us in terms of funding for the greenhouses. Then Miramar International works with all of us in terms of buying all the products that we are buying and selling it both locally and overseas.
And is this easier said than done? Who can practice this method of farming? We sought to find out its cost implications.
Generally, if I mention the main parts, to set up an hydroponic greenhouse will cost you something like $8 per square meter. The irrigation system will cost you about $2 per square meter. And the hydroponic system itself, if you are using the one which we supply from African Hydroponics, it will cost you about $7. Otherwise, if you use the simpler hydroponics, it would cost you something like $2.50 per square meter.
Experts say the capital cost or the initial cost of setting up the systems may be high, but the subsequent costs are manageable only if the farm is managed professionally.
If I make a comparison, for example, hydroponics is like the zero grazing of plants. So whoever is doing the growing for you, the farm manager or the grower as we call them, must have very good knowledge on how to mix the feed solution. Otherwise, if he makes a mistake, then you can have a problem where the crop is not doing well.
Another interesting aspect of this farming method is that it is friendly to water recycling. Samuel Mbugua, the product advisor at the college, explains.
The pipe is hollow, as you can see. There is nothing inside the pipe. And we just drill a hole here just to hold the cup. And you can see the roots are coming from the bottom. Yeah, so as they...
this
yeah,
would be...
exactly.
Inside there and the roots coming out.
Exactly.
And what water passes through the
now,
pipe?
yeah, water loaded with nutrients, as we had talked about earlier, passes on the bottom of the pipe. So we don't need water that will fill the pipe. We just have water
that is circulating.
Yeah, circulating in the pipe.
Okay, so it's controlled, it goes down and back to the tank.
Yeah, to the reservoir tank.
So when we put the water through there, the excess water is collected here. It goes down, then it's collected again over there. Then it comes down. Then this water comes and is collected over there. Yes. And that's why you're using...
recycled.
We recycle the same.
Yes.
When you go to the drier areas of the country where there is scarcity of water, we have the same solution where they have enough land, but then there's no water. By using this technology, you use very little water because you recycle the same water back and forth. And that allows us now to grow food almost anywhere in the country.
That's hydroponic farming for you. And experts say this type of farming, if managed properly and replicated across the country, could contribute a lot to Kenya's food security and create jobs. That's how we end today's show, and on behalf of the entire Chams Media crew and our broadcasting partner, KTN News, thank you for your company.